Welcome to Down South Football Podcast. This is part of our national championship preview. We have our boy Ricky Green in the building from at Tide Talk Sports on Twitter and YouTube. Make sure y'all follow on both platforms. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe button on Tide Talk Sports on YouTube also. And of course, in the building, you got your boy Bernard Williams. We got Mr. I Am DJ Double Dose Ben Dennis and Mr. at DL Gardner 205 David Gardner. Ricky, man, how you been doing, man? How's everything going?
You know me, man. I'm cool as creek water. Just hanging around, waiting on this Alabama game. You know what I'm saying? It's getting close to time to find out if Nick Saban and Alabama can right the college football world once again and win national championship number 18. That's what I'm doing.
I got you, man. I got a couple of questions we're gonna start out with. Y'all have it's a lot going on within the Alabama program. And then we can get more deep into the national championship. And I know the other guys have questions also. My first question to you is talk about, of course, Cal Flood. Was Steve Sarkisian taking the head coaching job at Texas? And according to data, the confirmation came out about Cal Flood going to Texas. Who do you see replacing either one of those guys on Nick Saban's staff at this point?
Well, I think I did a video earlier today on the Alabama Football News and Rumors channel on YouTube talking about Kyle Flood making a lateral move to Texas. So basically, there's a possibility that he may get the OC tag, but Horns 247 reported earlier today that Steve Sarkisian has already told them he'll call the plays at Texas. So even though he might get that tag, it's a lateral move to me, looking at it from the outside. I think that you may see a guy like Jeff Stoutland, a guy that Alabama fans are familiar with, that was one of our best X's and O's offensive line coaches we ever had in the Nick Saban era. He had been with the Eagles in the NFL, coached their offensive line. Look to a guy like Jeff Stoutland maybe potentially to replace Kyle Flood, and then to replace Sarkisian. Saban could go one of two ways. He could go the NFL route and try to grab a guy like Adam Gase, or maybe even a guy like Bill O'Brien, or long shot, a guy like Joe Brady, or he could go the college assistant route, looking at a guy like Kendall Browse, or maybe even a guy like Hugh Freeze getting brought back into the SEC as an offensive coordinator. So that can really go there'll be no shortage of applicants for those vacant positions in Tuscaloosa. Everybody knows, like you said before we went live, you come to Alabama to burn it up and then move on. That's why you come to Alabama. We haven't opened it. We're stacked with elite talent. We'll have plenty of candidates, I think. Right.
I would be crazy if I didn't take a couple minutes to talk about Devonta Smith and the Heisman last night, man. I think I said a month ago that, I figured like he was going to be the Heisman winner, and he's a very humble kid, man. I think everything that you saw last night was truly who he was. Did you feel like that Devonta was going to win the Heisman going into it?
I did. At one point during this season, I thought that Mac Jones had a good shot at winning the trophy. There was 2 or 3 weeks in particular where I thought, wow, look, nobody knew who Mac Jones was, and now all of a sudden this guy's got a chance at winning the Heisman. But as the season went on, and I began to understand within myself that Devonta Smith might have the best hands of any wide receiver that I've ever seen, maybe. Like, it's really hard for a kid like that to not win the Heisman Trophy. He's incredible on and off the field. He's a great ambassador for the University of Alabama and one of the most talented kids that I've seen in my lifetime.
And Ricky, I think, like, from my end, I was going to say, watching him actually win the Heisman to me was great because, year in and year out, we always like, man, it's the quarterback award. And then when you finally see a kid, like you said, that's humble, that's from day one. I mean, his opening highlight of his package to the NFL is him catching the touchdown, winning the national championship, to closing it out with however this game goes Monday. So to see him actually win the award as a wide receiver, to me, I was really rooting for him and hoping that he pulled it off.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. I was talking to people about the Florida QB. I told, basically I said that the 3-loss scenario put him out for me. You look at Trevor Lawrence, to me, the Heisman Trophy is not a lifetime achievement award. I'm just saying, that's what it felt like to me if Trevor Lawrence were to win it. It's not a lifetime achievement award. It goes to the best player on the best team, and I felt like that was Devonta Smith this year.
That's definitely I can see that. And we make one little correlation that I heard. It's a recruiting story about Devonta, and I'm sure you're very familiar with it. The guy that got him to Georgia was someone that it was a guy that was on staff on Georgia at the time that helped him get committed to Georgia. And then apparently when Devonta decommitted and ended up coming to Alabama, apparently the same guy was on staff at Alabama that came with Pruitt, if I remember the story correct.
Yeah, Sam Petito was the director of recruiting. Yeah. That's the way that went down. Yep.
I thought that was a wild story. I heard that story today about it, and I just thought that was crazy. So, Dave, what you got, sir?
He definitely made the right decision.
Well, what I have is that, Ricky, this question I didn't have prior to this show, but I always keep something under my sleeve. Let's go back and talk about the replacements for offensive coordinator. You mentioned one name that I joked about. Not even with these guys. I joked about it. Not necessarily joked about it, but I wonder, could Alabama Nation take him seriously? And that was Kendall Browse.
Yep.
Because he does some. I think he's great. Has a great mind for the game, but how he operates is a little different. Meaning that his style of offense. Kind of speak on how did you hypothetically? What do you think that would look like? Because he's more up tempo. He's spread the field. He's motion, quick this, quick that, boom, hit you downfield. I really think he has an awesome mind for the game. So, how do you think Alabama Nation would adjust to a Kendall Browse?
I think that regardless of who your offensive coordinator is, as long as Nick Saban's a head man in Tuscaloosa, the run game will be an important element of the offense. He's just an old school type. He will not fully abandon that run game ever. I think we'll never see Nick Saban do that. But Kendall's a guy that could be a continuation of the evolution of the offense at Alabama under Nick Saban for the last 3 or 4 years that we've seen with guys like Kiffin and then Sarkisian. And it just continues with a guy like Kendall. I think he could bring elements to the passing game that we have yet to see at Alabama, even under Kiffin or Sark. And I think that as long as he was okay with accepting having the run game be a part of that, it could really make for a dangerous offense. The attack itself would be fairly incredible when you've got skill guys like a John Mechie next year. Alabama's offense is pretty well lined up. We saw Jason McClellan, that young running back at times this year, just tear it up. Alabama will be good again on the offensive line. So why not, really? I think that if they wouldn't be willing to accept him, they may change their tune rather quickly if he wound up in Tuscaloosa.
A couple weeks.
Right?
Well, I think one thing about Kendall, I don't think that he would really abandon the running game. I think he will make the running game more deadly because the lanes that those guys will be able to run through would be crazy because he's doing so much outside the numbers and on the hashes to where, and you talked about the freshman kid, heck, it's just only getting started in the backfield of Alabama.
Yep. I think he could bring some vertical concepts to Alabama's passing game, featuring the running back and featuring a tight end like Jaleel Billingsley that we really haven't seen yet as a part of this offense. And that's pretty exciting when you've got a kid like Bryce Young throwing the rock around next year in Tuscaloosa. That's why I say, again, we won't have a shortage of candidates. I think that Kendall would make a good one, though, no doubt.
Well, I don't have any other off the game questions, so Ben, is on you, man, whatever you got.
And speaking of Bryce, do you think that Mac has he said that he's going pro? Has he made it, or is it just understood that he's?
I guess I'm just operating under the assumption that he will leave. I think he's played his way into an opportunity at going as high as the second round in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the understanding is that Bryce Young paid his dues as the backup this year, especially with Steve Sarkisian. I think the Young family feels like he paid his dues, and now it's his time to start at Alabama next year. That's what I expect.
Or Texas.
No, not at Texas.
I know. I ain't want to bring it up, but I know you heard that little rumor floating around out there that he may slide on.
None of that. I thought I made it through his entire segment without any kind of wildness coming out, and then he talking about at Texas out of left field at the end. Horns up, my man. Golly, y'all got to go.
Man.
Hey, Ricky. Go ahead, Dave.
No, I'm just gonna say my boy C Tuck just joined the show, man. He right on time. We're only about 11 minutes in, so you hadn't missed a thing, bro.
Well, Tuck, before I pass it to you, and I think we've done a lot of the off the field. Let's really get into a little bit of the championship game. Since we're definitely talking about the Ohio State championship game, let's talk about the number 17. Let's talk about Mr. Jaylen Waddle. Because I noticed you on your Twitter feed, you've been saying it for about a month now. Like, all right, national championship game, we make it. Waddle gonna be back, and I saw you kind of like not so much pump your chest, but say like, I tried to tell y'all when he got cleared and he was practicing. So, what do you think his chances of playing, and will he be more as a decoy, or you think he's gonna be part of the game plan? Like, what's your thoughts on that?
Just exactly like I said in that last video there on the channel. At one time, I felt like it would be a small miracle if we ever saw Jaylen Waddle put on a crimson jersey ever again. I really did. When he first got hurt, I was like, man, this is the most unfortunate thing. Second to his hip injury, how bad can you have something like this happen again? You know, it's a crazy situation when he got hurt on that kickoff. And I talked to a friend of mine who's a surgeon in Alabama, and he knew he did not handle Jaylen's injury. I'll be very clear about that, but he's very knowledgeable with the specific type of injury that Jaylen had and what was necessary for treatment and the chances of success with that injury. And that's what kind of was behind me starting to say, all right, now, y'all, I just educated myself through him and believed that there was going to be possibly just enough time for us to see Jaylen again. And then a couple of weeks back, when Saban came out and said he's doing some running, I've seen him on the sideline of the SEC championship game, on the sideline the week before that. I just kind of had a feeling that Jaylen, the competitor, wanted to be back and be a part of this effort to win a national championship. I think he really relishes the opportunity to be on the field with Smitty and the rest of his brothers one more time. And I've just had that feeling that if there's any way he could be back, he would be back. And then lo and behold, if we didn't find out he returned to actual practice, and then I'm sitting here like, yeah, this is really going to happen. Jaylen Waddle, not only, in my opinion, will he be used as a decoy, I think there's actually a chance now that he might have 10 or 15 plays in the tank for Alabama against Ohio State. And if he does, I'm going to say, look out. Real talk, look out. If Jaylen Waddle becomes a viable option at any point during the game, you have to be able to stop not only him for 10 or 15 plays, but you've got Smitty, Mechie, Jaleel Billingsley, Najee Harris, Mac Jones squeezing the trigger. An offensive line that really is my only worry for this game. Losing our center, Landon Dickerson, is a big deal. You can't overstate what a blow that truly is. But a senior, the backup there, Owens, has done a really good job in that semifinal against Notre Dame. And if he can have any type of a decent game against Ohio State, who has a very good defensive line, a vertical attacking, get in the backfield defensive line that worries me. If he can just have a decent game, Alabama potentially with Jaylen Waddle could be a nightmare scenario in that game.
Tuck, I know you just got in, so I'll let you go ahead, sir. Whatever questions you have for Ricky, go right ahead, sir.
I'm pretty sure y'all touched on a lot of stuff because y'all was touching on a lot of the off-field stuff. So I'm not going to touch that, but yeah, I mean it's pretty much a spot-on analysis that you did about the offense. With Waddle coming back, like I said, I do think they have some stuff because to me, you put Waddle in there, and it doesn't matter what side you put him on. You put him in motion, you put him in the slot, you put him at the Y, you put him at the Z. It ain't gonna matter. To me, the difference maker in this ball game is going to be Minchie because Minchie was balling when Waddle was in the game because they had so much attention on Devonta, and they had so much attention on Waddle. Minchie just showed up everywhere. I mean, he had so many options, but offense is pretty much is going to do whatever they're going to do. Defensively, talk to me about C.J. Mosley. What is going on? Is it mental, or do you think is he 100% healthy? I mean, that's my only concern on the defense. He does know how to get them lined up. That's one thing he does know how to do. But as far as the attributes of tackling and all that stuff, do you think it's something mental, or do you just think that he's taking a step slow because he's scared he's going to get hurt again?
I think it's a little bit of both at this point. We talked about it a little bit earlier. I think that he hasn't mentally been where he needs to be because he wasn't sure if he could trust his healing from that injury, worried about could he get hurt again. And then the actual playing through pain aspect of it, it's concerning to say the least, but the Alabama fan base that really knows what's going on with Alabama knows that Dylan hasn't been Dylan all season long, really. We've seen it. We knew it. Everybody knew something was up. We couldn't put our finger on it, but we knew something was up. When number 42, the backup, Jalen Moody, came into several games this season, and there seemed to be no drop-off there. You see what I'm saying? We knew something was up. This is a guy that was on the cover of ESPN the magazine the summer of his 8th grade year. We knew something was up. So it's definitely something that worries me about a team with an offense like Ohio State, especially if Justin Fields has another performance like he had against Clemson. It'll be really probably a shootout, to be honest. I predicted it a day or two ago to be 42-31 Alabama in the end, and that's with Alabama scoring a touchdown to end the game to pull away as time expires.
Of course you did, Ricky. Of course you did.
I'm just saying that's where I'm at.
Did I say C.J. Mosley?
You did, but
you might.
We knew you did, but we knew
Okay, but C.J. Mosley was great. We had no problem with C.J. Mosley.
We had no problem with C.J.
No, if Dylan could cover like C.J., we'd be balling. But he struggles with that right now. You feel me? Yeah. Right now.
But that's pretty much all I had. And I mean, Surtain. I think Surtain's also stepped up. Y'all heard anything about Malachi Moore?
Yeah, I actually talked to his mom, Penny, right immediately when the game against Notre Dame started. I noticed he wasn't in. And I talked to his mom, Penny, before she tweeted out about what was going on. He had some muscle spasm type things going on. Supposedly, according to her at least, he could have played in that game if we really needed him to. But it's a situation where Helms and Branch were playing really, really well. Just so happened, and that being the case, we just kind of used it as an extra week for Malachi to rest. There's no reason other than he was a little bit banged up that he didn't play. He could have went.
Okay. Well, that's pretty much all I had. Like I said, offensively, you don't have to worry about too much. The only thing is the off the field stuff with going on with with Sark going to Texas and everything, and Flood and possibly. I mean, he's definitely trying to pick everybody off right now. I wish all that stuff. No doubt. I really wish that stuff wouldn't go public right now because I would want everything to be focused on the game. But yeah, I mean, I think y'all be fine offensively. Defensively, that's the only issue that I'd like. Might have a little cause for worry. But I mean, like you said, it's going to be a shootout.
Yep. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say that was a perfect segue into my question. Is that how would you, Ricky, if you were? It's a two-part question. Number one, if you were on Ohio State staff, how would you defend Bama, and vice versa? If you was on Bama staff, how would you feel? How would you defend Ohio State? So it's a two-part question.
It's tough, really, if you look at it. I would almost try to defend Ohio State similar to the way we defended Clemson when they had Deshaun Watson, putting a spy on him. Back then, Rashaan Evans, Razor Evans, who's now in the NFL, spied Deshaun Watson and did a really good job of it. And I think that's important when you've got a guy like Fields that can move the ball with his legs and with his arm, especially when he has a game like he had against Clemson. Now, this guy was throwing some dimes in that game, and if he can replicate that, I think you got to prepare to spy him and keep him in the pocket and really be able to have some success man on man on the outside with some of your DBs on wide receiver matchups. You got to be able to handle some man to have an extra guy to really focus on containing a dynamic athlete like Fields, I think.
I think the tough part is that if you do spy, the fact that he has an arm and he can put it there and his accuracy is what it is, then that's one less man you got in coverage. So now flip the script. So now if you were on Ohio State's defensive staff, how would you defend Alabama?
Man, if I could answer that question, I'd be making a lot more money than I'm making right now. You feel
Ricky,
me?
This is your interview. This is your time.
I got you. Okay, I got you. How do you defend an offense like what's at Alabama right now? I mean, you think about any move you make there, it's like to every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. You try to double one wide receiver, you leave Mechie running open on a slant across the field. You try to bring an extra guy in the box to stop the run. You got a tight end like Billingsley faking a block and taking off and catching a pass. It's such a diverse offense and such a balanced offense in the way that it's executed. Sark's done a really, really good job with that. It's hard to even imagine putting together a defense that could defend this offense. We haven't really seen one yet this season that could stop it. You think about slowing it down, it starts with your defensive line being able to get pressure quickly on Mac Jones. If you have if Mac Jones has longer than 3 seconds, 3.5 seconds, he's going to tear you up. But if you can get with 3 and 4 guys, get some pressure through that offensive line that has a backup center in the game, if you can have some success up front, it can really set the tone for the rest of your defense, I think.
I think you made that was a good answer. I do agree.
Let's go. Hire me, coach. Pay me.
Man.
Let's go.
Hey, Rick. What I'm trying to do, man. I'm your agent. That's all I'm saying. So
right.
I do agree with you, man. I think that.
I'm sorry, Rick. If he your agent, you ain't get no money.
Well, at least I'll be on time for a meeting. But listen,
okay.
But listen, that's all I'm saying, Rick, is that I do agree. I am of agreement that you have to take away something, because on the defensive side, just kind of looking at sports, I think it's always a chess game. What are you going to try to take away? But if you can get pressure on that quarterback, you can negate a whole lot. So I think that's key. So I agree with you.
And,
no doubt.
and since we own the game piece, Bernard, I got one question for you, Ricky.
Go right ahead.
If you look at the last game with what Ohio State did with their tight ends, does that worry you at all? Because Fields really in that game, I don't know if that was prep or practice, but he really in that game implemented using their tight ends a lot in that game. And we've talked about Dylan and his coverage. Do you think that may become an issue?
Yes, definitely. It's going to be an issue. That's going to be an issue, and the way that they use their running back in the passing game is going to be an issue. Alabama hasn't been able to cover a back out of the backfield or a tight end on a crossing route all season long, and they're not just going to magically figure out how to do it between now and kickoff. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. So, I mean, it'll take a big effort from a couple of safeties. I think Malachi being one of them. Branch will need to have a good game, battle, and our safeties will have to play really well and help those linebackers in coverage if we have any shot at slowing down that tight end and running back game in the pass game for sure.
Because I think for me, I feel like Surtain is probably not saying he's going to lock up Olavi or Olive, whatever his name is, but I think that he's going to be able to handle that situation, and Ohio State is going to have to look at another avenue or another route to pick up big first downs to open him up possibly up top. And when we were watching the game, we all was like, man, these tight ends are eating. They are eating today. And Clemson obviously they didn't have any answer for it at all.
Yeah, and I think you look at too, on the flip side, Clemson had nothing that even closely resembled a run game in that contest with Ohio State. The run game was non-existent. Etienne disappeared, bro. I don't think Najee Harris will have that type of game. I expect Najee to get his, and if he does, that's how Alabama's going to be successful. If Najee can tear it off and have success running the ball, it'll open up the passing game. But if we struggle running the ball at the same time, it could get interesting.
That's what's up. Because that was a key part too when he brought up the tight ends. I think like I said, I don't know if we're doing predictions yet, but we probably will later on. But I really think it's going to come down to who has the ball last. I mean,
that type of game.
I'm going to line like when you brought up, Deshaun Watson's Clemson. I think it's going to be something like that that was Jalen's freshman year, and Alabama scored way too quick with Jalen. I said, too much time for Watson. Yeah, I'm thinking this is the kind of game we're going to see on Monday.
Yeah, I think it'll come down to which defense can get 2 or 3 key stops and who can win the turnover battle. If you do those two things, I think you take home a national championship.
Definitely. I wanted to ask a question about about the COVID rumors with the Ohio State defensive line. And of course, I think it might be something that counterbalances itself out with Landon Dickerson not being there. We saw how good Ohio State defensive line was playing against Clemson, but also I was told, and from what I've seen, even just looked at on film, I looked at that this might be Clemson's worst offensive line. So I don't know if that's kind of a thing or where, it's a false sense of security, because I'm going to tell you, even without Landon Dickerson, you're still going against the Joe Moore Award winners. You know what I'm saying? The best offensive line in the country. And I think that's where we need to start and really need to look. I think we all know there's explosive players on both sides of the ball. I think the line, the line of scrimmage is going to be a big thing for Ohio State to continue to compete, because if they can set the tempo, if they can set the mood of the game, like you said, stopping the running game, then you got a ball game. I am a Justin Fields fan, but I also know that there was a couple passes even in that game, and it's kind of been his little bit of a history. He kind of pushed the ball in a little bit, and I know if I see it, I know Nick and the other guys see it. So it's like, I wonder how many. I wonder how many interceptions, they may bait him in. And I think that might be a difference also, Ricky, because with Mac, I don't see Mac putting the ball in a lot of dangerous spots. Now, with Fields, sometimes he overtrusts his arm. So that's kind of where I am. I wanted to get your thoughts on what you've seen from Justin Fields as far as like that particular thing. He loves to fit it in a spot where it would not be advisable.
Yeah, you got to wonder, really, throughout the season, Alabama, if there's one good thing you can say about Alabama's offense, it has been remarkably consistent from game 1 through the SEC championship and even against Notre Dame, consistent. You wonder, at least sometimes, which Ohio State will show up. Will it be the Ohio State that played Indiana, or will it be the Ohio State that played Clemson? which Justin Fields shows up. If he shows up and is slinging a rock like he did against Clemson, then shootout, whoever has the ball last type scenario. But if he does not, and Alabama's able to win that turnover battle, if Alabama has, 2 interceptions or an interception and a fumble recovery, it can get ugly quick when Alabama is scoring non-offensive touchdowns quick.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you on that. When you talk about that, we don't want to leave out Trey Sermon.
No,
for Ohio State. I mean, Trey Sermon is. I mean, if the one thing we definitely need to talk about, we need to talk about the emergence of this beast that we kind of saw at Oklahoma. And we kind of saw at Oklahoma a little bit, but it didn't really get to come true to fruition. But you could see talent. Do you have any words about Alabama and Trey Sermon?
Yeah, I'm going to keep it 8 more than 92 with you every day. That's what I do. I'm going to keep it 100. Alabama's defense, the damn bucket had a hole in it all year. You feel me? Water leaking out. We can't stop the run this year at Alabama. And there's, it is another situation where it is what it is. DJ Dale, I like DJ Dale, but it seems like when he's been in the game at nose tackle for Alabama, we have not been able to stop the run. And it's like we refuse to play Barmore and Smith and Mathis, Big Fidarian Mathis. It's frustrating at times. It definitely can be. So, yeah, sure, Sermon, he can run roughshod on your ass real quick if you're not ready to slow down the run game.
Right.
I don't understand. What's the young man's name? Barmore?
Christian Barmore. Yeah, that's an animal.
That's a grown man. And I don't understand that either because when I saw the game against Notre Dame had a pretty good offensive line. I mean, he was eating double teams up and he was making plays in the backfield. So, I mean, Dale is okay, but he's no better.
Well, first of all, DJ Dale is from Birmingham's Tuck, so you're gonna get up off DJ, okay? Second thing,
that's the problem right there. There you go.
Second thing is my final question, and this is to the panel. Who wins the trenches? Who wins the trenches?
Yep.
Who do you all see dominating in the trenches? Because football, they can spread you out. They can throw the ball all over the field. But at the end of the day, we know where that game is won at. So,
right.
Who y'all got?
I have one question about that. That's about Wyatt Davis, the outstanding offensive lineman for Ohio State. He kind of limped off the field. And I saw there was a guy from Ohio State, an interview I was listening. He said that's an ongoing knee injury he has. It kind of like flares up, and then it's something that he's going to have to continue to play through. So if he's playing at the level he was last time, that's Ohio State offensive line against Bama defensive line in run block. Let me be clear. I think that's a little bit of advantage Ohio State, but I think in pass blocking, with what's the name number 4 and all of them coming off the edge, I think there's a little bit of advantage Alabama.
31, Will Anderson at Alabama.
Yes. I cannot forget Will Anderson.
You got to recognize talent when you see that. That kid is unreal, bro. Unreal.
And if you go to the other side of the line, talking about Bama's offensive line against Ohio State D-line, if they having COVID issues or even if they're not, I still kind of have to give the edge to Bama, even without Landon Dickerson. What are y'all thoughts, fellas?
I think it's a push. I think it's going to be Alabama's offensive line is a plus, and then going against Ohio State defensive line. But Ohio State offensive line is good too, and Bama's D line is not how it used to be. We're not talking about I don't see a Darius there. So I don't see a Marcel. I mean, Williams is a good edge rusher also, but I just don't see that that attacking. You can't block single handedly. You got a double team. You can some people you can go single blocks on, except when what's his name in the game 58. I cannot remember his name, but when he gets in the game, yeah, thank you. I mean, I just call him Richard. When Richard gets in the game, yeah,
it's OV. Big Richard, OV boy.
Big Richard. So when he gets in the game, yes, he's going to demand a double team. But the other guys, I think it's going to be a push. Alabama offensive line. Didn't they win the Jordan Moore Award too?
Yes.
Yep. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Even without Landon, I don't see that being.
That's what I'm saying. Like he said, I didn't know the backup was a senior, So he's been there forever. So
experience.
You got to get them the
I'm gonna give them some push. It's going to be interesting to see with the two tackles on the inside as Ohio State, which is to me kind of their strength, especially the guy that got shot in the face that finally came back. You know, like are they going to run some stunts and do some things like that to try to confuse Owens, you know, and all that kind of stuff like that. So that's kind of where I'm at. Like you said, it can't be a push. The guy was shot in the face. He came back from a shot in the face.
Oh, I forgot about him.
They I remember them talking about it on the show.
So I'm definitely giving Ohio State to go on that. So you get shot in the face and come back.
You got a 9 round right around your mouth.
Yeah, right. Man. Yeah,
so Ricky, that's a man.
Ricky, what's your thoughts on this on the line of scrimmage?
I think that the College Football Playoff Committee got it right, and we're getting ready to see, in my opinion, the two best teams in the nation line up and give us a Holyfield versus Tyson type game. And man, I'm looking forward to it. Just to keep it real, it could go either way. It'll be interesting, particularly to watch the game within the game that y'all are talking about between the two lines of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. And that's definitely a key factor that the victorious team will have done. You have to win the line of scrimmage. You have to win the turnover battle. And you have to have a defense that can get 2 or 3 key stops that change the outcome of the game and get you off the field on third down, and that's it.
Right. Well, there it is. Well, Ricky has already kind of gave his prediction. So, Ricky, before we get out of here, man, once again, we appreciate you coming on, man. Appreciate the time.
Yes,
go ahead, drop your social media information and where they can find you on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm at Bama RLG on YouTube or on Twitter. We've got our YouTube channel, the Alabama Football News and Rumors channel. We partnered up with Chat Sports, and we have a channel. We just bring premium information about anything and everything that's Alabama athletics. And we don't charge crazy subscription fees. People work hard for their money, so we bring them the information, and we've had a good time growing the channel. We just now went past 4,000 subscribers yesterday. So, you know, we building a brand and having fun doing it. So we appreciate it.
Hey, Rick, man, we appreciate it, man. Hey, all y'all 4,000 subscribers, y'all come on over so y'all can subscribe to Down South Football on YouTube. Also, you can do both. You can. Hey, this Rick is our homeboy. You know, we can do a little bit of both. But
I'm gonna post the link on a community post. When you post the video, shoot me the link, and I'll put it in the community so all the subscribers can see it.
That's what's up, man. Appreciate it.
We appreciate that, man. But we're gonna go ahead and get out of here, fellas. This has been basically the Bama side for the national championship preview. We got a lot more content coming to y'all, man. And if nothing else, man, we'll see y'all probably the next couple of days and getting ready for Monday night.
I got something. I got something for the fella in the top right?
Which one? Hold on. Who's your top right? Who's your top right? Which one?
Nah, you know who you talking about.
I'm looking at Gardner right here.
He talking about D.L. Gardner. He talking about God.
What you got for me, Rick? What you got for me, man?
Roll Tide.
Oh my God!
Rick, where the light? Where the light at, Rick?
It's still on crimson back there. He got on that crimson back there. There you go.
Hey, got all the decorations.
That's right. Roll Tide. Tide talk. We appreciate y'all, fellas.
Hey man, y'all get ready, man, and we'll see y'all Monday night. Gonna be a great matchup. Y'all holler at us. Peace.
No doubt.